If you watched my F-Zero retrospective all the way to the end, you may recall that I said I believe a new game is coming soon. But the question is, why? Nintendo already has a new F-Zero, that being 99. There shouldn't be another game coming for the franchise. But I think that's where you're wrong. In late 2023, Nintendo released F-Zero 99, the Nintendo Switch Online exclusive Battle Royale, marking the first time the series went online. It was simply an improved version of the original SNES title that added a lot of unlockables by playing different modes. The new content is its biggest strength, but the fact that it is all online is also its biggest flaw, and ultimately why I think it isn't the grand return of F-Zero. Because 99 is an NSO exclusive, it cannot be played offline and can be shut down at a moment's notice, making all those hours me and everyone else has put into it essentially meaningless. This game could easily be completely offline, as the lobbies that aren't completely filled get filled up with bots. Hell, Nintendo could even do a limited physical release like they did for Tetris 99. Don't get me wrong, I do love F-Zero 99, but it is heavily limited by its reliance on the original F-Zero. So, why do I think there's a new F-Zero game on its way? There's not much evidence, just a few coincidences. But coincidences oftentimes can actually be hints to the future. Yes, this is massive code. Anyways, like I mentioned in the retrospective, October 1st, 2024 saw two massive announcements for F-Zero fans. The first was an update to F-Zero 99, where the Ace League from BS F-Zero was added. The second major announcement was that the final two F-Zero games were coming to the NSO Game Boy Advance service later this month. BS F-Zero and the second GBA game, F-Zero Climax, never saw release outside of Japan at that point. The F-Zero 99 update was the anniversary update for that game, but Climax didn't need to be announced at the same time. So unless I'm full of shit, F-Zero is getting a new game for the Switch too. But what would this game look like? The easiest move Nintendo could make is to remake F-Zero GX. If you exclude any expansions, GX is the only game to not be playable on the Switch, so unless Nintendo is planning on adding the GameCube to NSO, this will likely remain the only F-Zero game not on a Switch system. Now, if Nintendo were to remaster GX, what changes should they make? Everything about the gameplay needs to stay the same. The textures still look amazing, and the 3D models all look really good today, despite being a 2003 game. The only part of the original game that should be upscaled is the cutscenes, because they look awful. If possible, Nintendo should also add online races to the Versus Battle mode. Also, the machine builder should be expanded. For having its own tab on the menu, it has a very small presence in the rest of the game, so it would be cool to see a racing mode specific to custom machines. Alternatively, Nintendo could also make an entirely new F-Zero. Now, the reason Nintendo has given about not making a new F-Zero is that there haven't been any new ideas to keep the franchise fresh. The new ideas Nintendo added in 99 is online multiplayer and the Skyway, but unless the new F-Zero is in a 2D style, I don't think the Skyway is going to work in a 3D environment. In my opinion, the gameplay was refined in GX, so why not take a page from Mario Kart and try out retro tracks? F-Zero has already dabbled in this a little bit, but not nearly to the same extent. The closest was the GBA games having a handful of SNES tracks. F-Zero X also had a returning track, that being Snake Road, which is an almost direct remake of Port Town 2 from the SNES. If Nintendo were to add proper retro tracks, I would like to see them revamp the 2D tracks in the same way the Super Circuit tracks were in Mario Kart 8. If I were to pick a few tracks to return, I'd pick the original Firefield, Rainbow Road, and Mute City's Serial Heights. Another franchise F-Zero could borrow from is Smash Bros. Smash has multiple music options for its stages, so why not bring it into F-Zero? GX and Climax already have this in a limited capacity. GX added covers of the original Mute City and Big Blue themes in the shop, which could be selected on the track preview. Climax had 3 alternative themes that could be played on any track. Holding L, R, or both L and R plays one of the 3 themes. Adding more alternate themes to the tracks is the next logical step. Another existing feature from past games that could be improved is Story Mode. Even though it is a racing game, A hub world where you can move around outside of your machine would be cool. Considering how massive the cast of F-Zero is, it would be a shame not to see more of these characters. And should the machine editor return, the story could revolve around a new or custom pilot, and you have to build up your machine over the course of the story. Unfortunately, I don't see the track editor returning, but if it was brought back in a new game, it should be a no-brainer that they should be able to be raced and shared online. Now, as much as I would love an online 3D F-Zero, I have a few concerns about it. The main one is online performance. It is no secret that NSO servers still run on floppy disks, so the likelihood of the high-speed 30-player online experience sounds awful. And if Nintendo did manage to make the Skyway work in 3D, that could potentially make the game run even worse. They could limit player count to 20 for the online modes like the classic mode of 99, but personally I'd like to keep the chaos of 30 racers. With the Switch 2 rumored to be roughly as powerful as a PS4, I don't know if this will have any effect on how well an online mode can run, but the extra power will be a massive help to making a potential new F-Zero run as smoothly as possible. So those are my thoughts on why we're definitely getting a new F-Zero on Switch 2, as well as some ideas on what it could be. I know this video is cope, all the evidence pointing to a new F-Zero is circumstantial at best, but this video gave me a chance to think of some ideas for a potential new game. The only thing we know for certain is that it won't be a launch title. With the reveal of Mario Kart 9 in the Switch 2 trailer, that guarantees it to be a launch title. That also means a new F-Zero won't release within the first year, as doing so that close to Mario Kart would definitely hurt its sales. If a new F-Zero does come out, it won't be until the second year at the earliest. This is unfortunate as this year is the 35th anniversary of the franchise, and what better way to celebrate than by bringing back F-Zero? Actually, the first F-Zero released on November 21st in 1990. This year, November 21st is on a Friday, which is usually when new games are released. Your move, Nintendo. Like the F-Zero retrospective I did a few weeks ago, this video was supposed to be done in October. However, this was supposed to be the main video, not the retrospective. The early script ended up being mostly a series recap, with very little about my speculation about a new game, so I ended up splitting the videos. This ended up being the final part of that early script, so it only makes sense to make this video after the retrospective. And I want to thank everyone if you made it this far for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and comment on the video, or dislike it and tell me it's shit, I don't care, I enjoy reading hate comments too.